Sanji's Siren Song, Chapter 6 The Going Merry Galley. Sanji leans back against the bench, holding Zeph's letter in his hands. I'm sorry that I've done this, Sanji, Ashira whispers. I didn't mean to. She continued with tears in her eyes. Sanji kneels in between Ashira's feet and holds her face in his hands. Oh, sweetheart, you have nothing to be sorry for. I have loved you for many years. I am sorry that I have ignored you. I was worried that Zeph would kill me if I showed any interest in you. Sanji trailed off, a random thought crossing his mind. Picking Zeph's letter back up and skimming it until he found the part he was looking for. Do you know that she's only had one other lover? What the fuck does Zeph mean by one other lover? Sanji yells. Who? Who is the bastard that put his hands all over you? How dare Zeph sell you to the Ice Better? I'm going to go back to Baratier and kill him. Sanji jumps to his feet and begins to pace the length of the galley, all while yelling obscenities to Zeph. Ash sighed. Sanji, calm down. It wasn't like that. Zeph saw me growing up. You, on the other hand, were getting tailed from every direction, and he thought it a wise decision that he and I made together, by the way, since other, not so kind pirates had already begun leering over me in the dining room and offering him berry for one night with me. Who? Fucking who? Sanji demanded. Ash waited for Sanji to stop pacing and calm down. When he had done so, she looked him straight in the eye and continued. It was down to Mihawk, or Shanks. I told Zeph that I didn't want to know the final outcome until it was happening. So Zeph approached them both, and it was Shanks who came for me. Ash paused and held her finger in the air to Sanji to stop him from interrupting. Before you start cursing him out, Shanks was a perfect gentleman about the whole thing, and so was his crew. The only thing that I wished for was that it was someone else. Ash finished, looking at Sanji pointedly. Me. You wished for me, Sanji acknowledged softly. Yes. At one point during the encounter, I was going to call out your name, but I quickly realized and changed it. I think Shanks knew what I was going to say, and he made it all the more sweeter, Ash answered. Please spare me the details, Sanji scoffed, pacing again. Sanji, come and sit down, Ash requested. Once Sanji was finally sitting, Ashira took a deep breath. Do you really understand what is going on here, Sanji? Sanji nodded in reply. Yeah, we are mates. Even though I have accepted you with my words, he glances at Zeph's letter again. But we need to. And trails off, blushing furiously. Why, Sanji? Has the flirty Baratier cook been struck silent while blushing? Ashira teased. You're looking like you have more colour, Sanji smiled, noting the sparkle in her eyes. Ashira also let the change of topic slide. I'm feeling better. I'm just as nervous and awkward as a teenager right now, Ash replied, blowing air out of her mouth like she was blowing up a balloon. Sanji knelt down between Ashira's feet again, held her face in his hands, and stroked his thumbs over her cheeks. I do love you, Ashira. Sanji spoke so softly, Ashira almost missed it. Really? Ashira replied. Sanji responded with his lopsided smile and placed a gentle kiss on Ashira's lips. He pulls back to look in Ashira's eyes to note her reaction. Sanji could see the wheels turning in her head. Between her almost consuming desire for him and her common sense telling her to take it a little slow. Ashira grabs Sanji's shirt to bring his lips back to hers. She deepens the kiss by licking Sanji's bottom lip, making him open his mouth. Ashira notes that he tastes like his cigarettes, spices, and something else. Unsure of what, but knowing she can't get enough of it. After a beat, Sanji begins to leave open-mouthed kisses down the left-hand side of her neck. When he reaches the juncture between Ash's neck and shoulder, she let out a wicked moan, which makes Sanji smile and take his time on that spot. Once he leaves his mark, Sanji continues his exploration of Ashira's body, reaching all the way down to her boots. Sanji didn't give Ash any time to argue as he pulls each boot off and begins tugging her pants off. Sanji thought it was a bonus that her knickers came down with her pants. Once Ashira's clothes had joined her boots, he gently nudged her knees apart without taking his eyes off her face. You don't. Ashira ended on a moan as Sanji began licking at her folds. Her hands moved to weave her fingers into his blonde hair. As Ash grips Sanji's hair a bit tighter, it makes him moan into her pussy. Ashira lets her head fall back on top of the bench seat behind her with a soft thunk. You're such a tease. Sanji. Ashira moans. Even though I love hearing my name fall from those lips of yours, I want to see those beautiful sea blue eyes on me when you break, Sanji states. Ash lifts her head up to see her arousal glistening on Sanji's lips and chin before finding his own blue eyes. There's my girl. He smiles before diving back between her legs to continue like a man starved. Sanji wraps his lips around Ash's swollen clit and begins to move two of his fingers towards her slick entrance to gently insert them into her. On one forceful suck, Sanji adds a third finger. Ash begins to feel the coil wind up in the pit of her belly. Sanji can sense she is getting closer, his blue eyes never leaving Ash's face as her breathing becomes faster and shallower. On one particular moan, Sanji realizes he has found Ashira's soft spot. So he flattens his tongue against her clit and rubbing it over and over until Ashira comes on a particular pitched scream which cracks one of the panes of glass in the galley. Sanji, Ashira mumbles. Yes, beautiful? Sanji replies from his spot on the floor. That was... Ashira trails off, motioning her hands around. Lost for words, sweetheart? Sanji asks with a smile, as Ashira could only nod. Stay there and let me clean you up, Sanji suggests. Once cleaned up, Sanji helps Ashira back into her knickers and pants. How are we feeling there, girl? Any better? Sanji probes. Much better, but you need... Ashira smiles, feeling better than what she had done in weeks. Ah, don't worry about me. We can get to that when the Delphine leaves, Sanji replied. God, it's above. What was that sound? Zoro complains from on deck. Adrena laughs. Sorry, Zoro. I should have given you all a pair of these. When a siren has sex, she can sometimes get extremely loud, and I have heard of instances of a person having their eardrums rupture from the pitch of the scream, handing out earplugs. You mean we are going to hear that all the time now? Nami complained. Well, for a little bit at least. They have a few years to catch up on, Adrena replied. Chapter 7. Somewhere in the East Blue. Captain, we have received word from one of our siren sisters that there is a ship chasing us. Looking for mermaids, Andrina's first mate announced as she raced over to the Going Merry a few hours later to make her report. Shit, we need to get out of here, Adrena stated. But we can't leave Ashira yet. I know they have begun, but she'll still be too weak, she continued. I did spy some shoals over there. If we position both ships over there, we can sting them out onto the shoals to wreck. Adrena's first mate continued. Sounds like the best plan that we have, but we may still have to resort to hand-to-hand combat. Adrena nodded. Also, it's the same ship that killed Hyeno, her first mate continued. What? Sanji roared as he came out on deck. Are those bastards chasing you now? They need to be dealt with, he continued. Who is Hyeno? Who is chasing us? And where is the Shira? Luffy calmly asked when the yelling had died down. Sanji closed his eyes and took a breath before lighting a cigarette. Ash is asleep in my bed. She passed out. Hyeno is Ashira's mother. She died while trying to fetch a ship to get Zeph and I off that rock. But all they saw was a mermaid. Thought she would bring them good luck, so they killed her and tied her to the figurehead of the ship. Clearly, they are now after a replacement. The ship's name is the Oceanites. Mama was also Zeph's mate, Ash added from the doorway. Sweetheart, what are you doing out of bed? Sanji asked as he raced over to Ashira's side. Nami and Zoro show the same glance and smirk as Sanji rushes to Ash. I'm older now, and if those are the pirates that killed my mama, Sanji, I want them to be the first to hear my siren song in the last moments of their lives. Ash resolved, albeit leaning into Sanji's side. You're not strong enough, sweetheart, Sanji soothed. You're going to need practice your singing, Adrena suggested. A fight is perfect for focusing your song in a certain direction, Adrena continued. No, the Mako village elders have been helping me. I've gotten pretty good at it, Ash replied. Okay then, if you ladies head back to the Delphine, Nami can steer the Going Merry to where you feel it would be the best position for the attack, Luffy commanded. By the time the Delphine and Going Merry were positioned in the best fighting positions, and the Delphine had lent out a few of their gunners to man the cannon on the Going Merry, the Oceanites had caught up to them. That's the Delphine, and that's the Going Merry, Mouse reported, pointing out each ship to Captain Stelle as they drew close alongside. Hello! I addressed the captains of the Going Merry and Delphine. I am Captain Dionysos Stelle, and all I want is a mermaid to replace my last one. You can nominate the lucky lady, or I will destroy both your ships and take my pick of who is left. Stelle finished. I am Monkey D. Luffy, captain of the Straw Hat Pirates, future king of the pirates, and that will not be happening today. Are you sure you can win? You will have to fight the crews of 2 ships just to get your hands on one of the ladies. And what if all the ladies you see are not mermaids? Are you willing to take the risk? Luffy countered, puffing out his chest. Of course I am. We are not known as the Lucky Pirates for nothing. Very well. Gunners, fire! Stella chortled and commanded. Sweetheart, please, can you stay down here and out of the way? I don't think my heart could take you getting hurt up there, Sanji begged Ash. I'll stay out of sight, Ash relented. Sanji sighed, thinking he had won the argument, and gave Ash a soft kiss, and leaning his forehead and nose on hers, and whispered, I won't be long. Before taking off out of his bedroom, Ash counted to 10 in her head before she slunk out and found an alcove under the stairs. It was particularly dark, so she could keep an eye on the battle.